Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today let's talk about the Goodreads Choice Awards. Honestly, every year I get so excited by the Goodreads Choice Awards because I love to see what's been nominated. But also every year I'm slightly disappointed and there is usually something quite controversial about these awards. Last night, the opening round for the Goodreads Choice Awards was released. And so I thought it'd be really fun to get my first reactions with you. And we can go through this list and I'm going to be voting on the books that I think that should win for each category. I'm also going to be reacting to the different categories that are there. Last year there was a brand new romantasy category. I don't know if there's going to be new categories this year. I thought it'd be really fun if we just went through this list together. I go through which ones I'm voting for and then I also make a little mini TBR because what I like to do every single year is try and read at least one book within every single category, except for some categories where I really don't find anything particularly interesting. And then I try and read that book before the winner of each category is announced. So the opening round on Goodreads actually has so many different books, but then they do a secondary round before they announce the winner. And I think the winner is actually going to be announced on the 5th of December, so we don't have very long. So I'm going to be quite strategic in which books I'm picking. I'm going to try and pick only books that I think are going to be having a chance of winning or at least getting through to the next round. But most importantly today, I need to lock in my votes for all of the books that I think deserve to win in each category. Let's jump right in and get to voting. Okay, I hope this looks all right. I'm filming in a slightly different angle than I normally do, but I'm sitting here at my computer and we're going to click on and see what's in the Goodreads Choice Awards opening round. So as it says here, opening round is from the 12th to the 24th. So let's click in and see what we've got. Shall we just do a first reaction to the categories? Okay, I can't remember how many there was last year. Looks like a similar amount. Everything here seems to be stuff I'm expecting, although we have a new category that is audiobook. That definitely wasn't there last year. I'm not sure what the logic is of introducing an audiobook category. I don't know why something would be nominated for an amazing audiobook as opposed to another book. We shall see what that's going to entail. We don't have the comedy category that we sometimes have. I don't think we had that last year either. I think everything there is what I would have expected. Is there a debut? Yeah, there is a debut. Okay, I think that's nothing different to normal. Okay, so let's just jump in with the first category, which is fiction. And let's see. Okay, should have expected Sally Rooney to be there. I should be doing more predictions of what I think is going to be there before I click on. But I just get too excited. I just want to see what's there. Have not yet read Intermezzo. I've had very mixed reviews, to be honest. So let me know if you've read it, what you think. But that's probably a shoo-in to be the winner, to be honest. It's going to be something. These are popular book awards, so they are not picking the best book, they are picking the most popular book, and lots of people do get upset with that fact because often books that win are just the most popular book, but that's what these awards are for. You have other prizes for, real literary powerhouses. This is the equivalent of a popular vote, but I do still find that interesting because it just really shows you what people are actually reading, and I just find that really interesting, even though often it is quite disappointing. It's not very diverse. Glancing at this, a lot of these I recognize this one here, All Fours, but it's not on my TBR, and I recognize Greta and Walden. And I obviously know the author of Leanne Moriarty, and I recognise these two. So basically, I don't recognise these two, is what I'm actually saying. Margot's Got Money Troubles, I'm not sure. 46,000 ratings. And then this one I've never heard of either. It's got 84,000 ratings. Welcome to the Hyungdam Dong Bookshop. I'm not sure how I'm pronouncing that. I've seen quite a lot about. I think that's like one of those cozy stories. I feel like I've read so many books about this, like exact type of books. I don't know if that's like me just saying that, being too disparaging, but I feel like I really have already read this book, even though I haven't read it, if you know what I mean. And then Good Material. So this is the first one on this list I've actually read. I wouldn't say it's my favourite Dolly Alderton. I still really liked it. I do like her writing, but wasn't my favourite. So hopefully there's something else that I can vote for. We've got Playground, Richard Powers. Not surprised about that being on there. That's a Booker Prize shortlist one. Or long list, I can't remember actually. That was a long list. Another Booker Prize long listed book, Martyr. I'm pretty sure. Was it? Yeah, I think it was. I've seen a lot of buzz around this one actually. Lots of people really, really love this book. And then I haven't heard of these two, Real Americans and Coloured Television. So let's move on. The Mighty Red, Louise Eldridge. I've heard of this author, but I have not read this book or heard of it. I have read Tell Me Everything. So it's the second one I've actually read. And I did really enjoy this. It's really, really fun. I like Elizabeth Strout's books. I like this whole series of kind of like these literary fiction books. They're very, very fun. Sandwich I've not heard of. And then The Wedding People I've not heard of. Wandering Stars I have heard of. That was also another that's been like nominated for many prizes. Blue Sisters also heard of, and especially this author's other work that had a lot of buzz around it. Hope This Finds You Well, I'm kind of recognise that, but maybe not. And then I don't recognise this one either, same as it ever was. I'm surprised that there's only 2 books on here that I've read. Not only am I just surprised that there's only 2 that I can vote for, I'm surprised at a few of these that are coming up. There's a few other books that I just thought had so much more buzz that would have been on this list. Out of the 2 that I can vote for, Good Material and Tell Me Everything, I'm going to vote for Tell Me Everything because that's the one I preferred out of those 2. But let's go to the next category, which is historical fiction. For historical fiction, I do often read some historical fiction. It's not my least read genre, but I'm very hit and miss with historical fiction. So what could be on here? You know what I hope is going to be on there is The Safekeep. That is my favourite historical fiction that I've read this year. That was shortlisted for the Booker and I absolutely loved it. But now my mind is going blank for what could possibly be on the historical fiction other than The Safekeep, because that's the one that I really enjoyed. Honestly, we're just going to have to click and see what actually is on there because I cannot think of anything. Okay, immediately, the top 4 I've not read. Oh my god, I didn't know there was a new Sylvia Marina Garcia book. I'm going to click want to read on that one because I love Sylvia Marina Garcia. I've loved all of her books that she's that I've read from her so far, and this one seems very fun. I've heard of this author and their previous book, which was Brooklyn, and this I think is the sequel, but haven't read it. And then I have seen this actually, but not heard much about it. Oh, of course, Kristen Hanna would be on here. That's probably gonna win. Oh my god, look at the ratings. That's definitely gonna win this year. I have not ever read a Kristen Hanna book because I do feel like, maybe unfairly, that is the type of historical fiction that I don't get on with. So let me know, do you think that I would like Kristen Hanna's books? Should I read this one? This one's definitely gonna win. But I can't vote for it. The Book Lovers Library, not read that. The Storm We Made, not read or heard of that. And then Jodi Picoult's new book, By Any Other Name. That's actually a really pretty cover for that book. The other cover, the UK cover, I don't love that much. I'm going to click want to read for this one. I think this one sounds really interesting, and it's all about a woman who is many people think that could be the real author of Shakespeare's plays. I think that would be really interesting and very fun. I think I've read a Jodi Picoult book before and I did enjoy it. I didn't read Mad Honey, but we'll see. That might win too, actually, but it hasn't had as many ratings. It hasn't been out as long, I guess, as The Women by Kristen Hanna, but those 2 are definitely going through to the next round. Hopefully there is a book that I can vote for in this round. Not yet for this second line. Have not heard of any of those, so can't say much about it. Wait, maybe I recognise this one, or do I recognise this author maybe? Next line. I've heard of this. Oh, James, of course, I should have guessed that would be on there. That one has so much buzz, and that's definitely going to win quite a few awards. I have no doubt about it. For me, it was not my type of book. It's the type of book that's a satire without saying enough. I don't know. Although it was well written. And then I've not heard of that one. And then the last line, not heard of these. Oh, actually, I have heard of The Briar Club, but I don't know what people are thinking about it, although that's got very high reviews. So I can only vote for one book on this list out of this selection, and that is James. And even though I don't like it, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to vote for it because I don't have a choice to vote for anything else. Maybe by the time the second round will come out, I will have read this one and then maybe change my vote to this one. Or maybe I'll have read the Sylvia Marina Garcia one and maybe I'll change it to that. But for now, we have to stick with the only one that I have read, which is James. Next category, mystery and thriller. I I think it's highly likely that I've read none from this next category, because this is one of the ones where I read it very occasionally and only when it's like really strongly reviewed by people that I have similar tastes with. A lot of mystery and thriller I don't read. So let me try and think if there's been any. This is the thing, when I don't read the genre, I don't know what's big stuff's come out in that genre this year. Will I have read any of them? And I'm just like glancing at my shelves to see what I've kind of picked up recently, or see if anything is a mystery or thriller. I'm not sure. Maybe Creation Lake would count as a mystery thriller. It's very much literary, but I do think some people would count that as mystery and thriller, so maybe that's on there. I didn't love it. I was in the middle for me, Creation Lake, but we'll see if it's on the list. The next one is, okay, as suspected, I have not read any of these. I do recognise these authors: Riley Sager, huge author obviously, Richard Osman, another one, and then Nita Prose. They're all probably, and Frida McFadden, they're all going to go into the next round, I assume. And then also Rachel Hawkins, I recognise that as well. But I've not read any of them, don't know enough to comment on them. Lucy Foley, another one. I recognise all of these. Frida McFadden's got two coming up there. The God of the Woods. I actually am very interested in this one. I love the cover, it's beautiful, and also I've heard really good things about this. It's about like a camp counselor. I thought it was more of a horror vibe, but maybe it's mystery thriller. But no, look, I haven't read any of them. I don't even know most of these. So maybe for this category, going on my TBR, is going to be God of the Woods. That's one I'm most interested in out of all the nominated ones. I've read a Lucy Foley before. I enjoyed it. It was kind of fun, but I didn't love it. And I have read a Frida McFadden one as well. Her most famous one that I can't remember the name of, like the nanny or the house guest or something along those lines. They've all got the same names. And I thought that was fun. I've never read of Riley Sager, so maybe I should. Maybe that should be on the list. But that's not got that good of a rating for me. If I'm hedging my bets and I'm guessing of which one I like better, I'm much more comfortable putting down a 4.2 rating than anything in like the 3.7s, even low 3.7. So that one was a quick round. Let's move on to romance. What I'm hoping to see, obviously an Emily Henry on there. I'm pretty sure like a Abby Jimenez book will be on there. What else would be on there for romance? Maybe a novel love story, or like The 7 Year Slip. A lot of my romance ones are romance with fantasy, and I'm not sure if they would count as full-on romantasy, like there's like The Spell Shop and The Honey Witch and stuff like that. I think they would probably count as romantasy, even though that's not how I see romantasy. I see romantasy as quite like highly charged in a way, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's click on romance and see what we've got. We have, yes, there she is. Funny story. I think one of my favourites of Emily Henry. Ali Hazelwood's had another one. Yes, and another Ali Hazelwood. I should have guessed that Bride would be there as well. Oh my god, look, I've read 2 already. Look, I'm a romance reader, guys. This is quite exciting. And I'm seeing Abby Jimenez there as well, just for the summer. I've already got that on my want to read list. I'm going to be reading that. I recognise this Anna Huang one. I think it's like the end of a series. Out of the 2 that I've read from this section, I actually really enjoyed both of these for different reasons. But Bride was very, very fun. I thought it was actually a really good book. But out of the 2, funny story. That's a 5 out of 5 for me. I absolutely loved it. But let's just see if I read any of the other ones. I read the first one in this series, but I did not read the second one because it was not my thing. It was fine. It just wasn't great. I've heard of these books. I've heard of Kennedy Ryan. I've heard of Elsie Silver a lot, but not read them. Haven't read any of these. Oh, yeah. I should have guessed that was there. And I hated this book. I literally DNF'd it, as you can see. The way it was written was actually like unbearable, and it's actually made me reconsider if I even like Casey McCuister's writing at all, because now I've read 2 books of theirs that I really didn't enjoy. This one I've heard loads about, actually. I'm quite tempted. Oh no, it's the second one in a series. Maybe I shouldn't add it to my want to read, but First of all, I love these covers. They are just so cool looking. Like they are, they're so unique, but they're obviously clearly still fitting in the romance genre. If anyone's read this or read the first one of the series and thinks that I would like it, please let me know. Not that I need much encouragement. So for this one, I've read kind of 3 of them. And it's an easy vote. So moving on to romantasy, my predictions for what's going to come up are the Spell Shop, definitely, and what's the other one? I said the Honey Witch. They've just been everywhere. We'll definitely have something like from Jennifer L. Armentrout, if those books are still carrying on, but that'll be on there. I don't know if Sarah J. Maas has had any come out recently enough, or if Cassandra Clare's had any enough that have come out recently enough. Because I think that her books were last year, like the Swordcatcher. I wonder if S.T. Gibson is on there at all. That would be fun if any of their books have gone onto there, or if Ava Reid is on there. But they're more my kind of romantasy. There's a whole other host of romantasy that I don't have much to do with, so I'm not sure. But let's see what's on the romantasy predictions. Oh, I should have guessed A Dark and Drowning Tide. I technically read that one. I kind of DNF'd it. Like, I technically finished it, I think, but I just really didn't like this one at all. Like, it just wasn't for me, the writing. Oh, and The Spell Shop is on there. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things about it. I might put that on my want to read, my TBR. Faybound, I'm surprised that's there because I think a lot of people have read it and were quite disappointed with it. Yeah, like it's got a 3.59, which is quite low for Goodreads. You have to have quite a few negative reviews to drag your average down that far. This one, another one, I've heard lots of negative things about actually, When the Moon Hatched, but it has had a lot of buzz, and like look at the number of ratings, that's kind of crazy, so I'm not surprised it's there. Zodiac Academy, is that still going on? That's crazy. I thought that had been over for a while. So out of these, I hope there's something else, because I will have to vote for Dark and Drowning Tide if I don't have any others that I've read. So I'm hoping. Oh, there is a Sarah J. Maas one. I didn't realise that came out. I have not read that. I have read the other 2 of Crescent City, and they're so bad. So I'm just like, I've put it on my want to read. I don't know if I'm ever going to manage that. Haven't heard of these. I have heard of Scarlet St. Clair, and I think I've read one of their books before. Didn't love it. I've read a few of these books, actually. The Plated Prisoners. I read maybe 2. They were just okay. And then Assistant to the Villain and Apprentice to the Villain, I've heard really bad things about. So, okay, here we go. 2 that I have read. I've read Fate Eating Blood, and I've read The Honey Witch. Out of those ones that I have read, I did not love this one. It just ended in a very terrible way. So I'm going to have to vote for The Honey Witch, which I only gave a 3-star, but that is my clear winner out of these ones. And I'm happy that I actually predicted quite a few that were on there, even though I couldn't remember that Sarah J. Maas had released a book. Okay, so next category is fantasy. This is hard to guess because there could be so many different ways. Something I hope that's on there is The Tainted Cup. I would love Blood Over Bright Haven to be on there, but I'm not sure when that technically came out. But that's my favourite fantasy of the year so far. I'd be interested if Ava Reid is on this list, actually. Also would love to see Leigh Bardugo on there. Can you hear me? So here she is. Do you want to say hi to the camera? You want to say hi? What do you think is your favourite book of the year so far, Mies? She's not ready to talk. Okay, so that's enough guessing. I'm sure that there's also male authors on there too. Maybe Joe Abercrombie's on there, probably. But can't begin to guess. Okay. Oh, I wanted to read this one. The Dead Cat Tail Assassins. I've not heard of this, The Lost Story. I'm interested to see what that's about. I will definitely dig into this list a lot more later, especially in the fantasy sci-fi categories. Oh my god, yay! The Tainted Cup is on there. That's going to be my vote. That's a 4.5. I might round that up to a 5 because that's a 4.5 for me. And then Warm Hands of Ghosts, I've heard a lot about as well. Oh my god, T. Kingfisher's on there. I really want to read this one. I've not read it yet, and I love T. Kingfisher's writing. This one is a retelling of a Brothers Grimm story, and I love the way that they do retellings. So that's already on my TBR. We have Academy for Liars. I've seen this, but I don't know much about it. And then I don't think I like Jay Kristoff's writing. So I feel like for some reason he's like quite controversial, but I can't remember why. So sorry about that. Oh my god, Emily Wilde's on here. Why are you on here? I guess it did come out this year. Oh no, now on my vote, I might split my vote. Also, we have Leigh Bardugo, The Familiar, on there, which I also really enjoyed. I've seen this one really heavily advertised, The Bright Sword, but I have not heard much about it. Like, I've seen a big push from like publishers, but not much like reviewing stuff about it. So I'm not sure about that one. Next row, what do we have? Yeah, we have Veronica Roth. I've heard a lot about this one. And I do really love that cover, but haven't read it. And then, yeah, The Foxwife as well. I've heard that that's really good. But, oh my god, Voyage of the Dam. That is so weird that that one's on there, because that is the most random book that I picked up. I literally got it from this random fantasy sci-fi convention. It was a sci-fi convention, and so I thought it was a sci-fi book, but when I did a haul, people were telling me that it's actually a fantasy book. And obviously it is, because it's like in this fantasy thing. But I literally picked it up and it was so random. It was just given to me for free. And I'd never heard of it before. And now it's been nominated this year. So that one's already on my list to read. Obviously, I already own it. And then a TJ Klune, which, yeah. Okay, so I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of happy. What do I vote for? Do I do The Tainted Cup or Map of the Otherlands? I also read The Familiar. They're the actual only three that I've actually read. I'm kind of surprised that there's not more that I've read on here. Out of the two, I think I kind of want to go with my gut and do, I don't know, I like both. Let's see what's got the least ratings, meaning like they'll have the least chance of making it the next round, and then I will vote for that one, because then I want them both through to the next round, you know what I mean? Like, I want to help them both through. So this is at 23,000 ratings, and this has got 52,000. I'm going to vote The Tainted Cup then. They're so different, so they're very hard to compare. But yeah, I preferred them over The Familiar anyway. So let's move on to sci-fi. What has come out this year for sci-fi? I don't think we've had any of the heavy hitters, like Pierce Brown hasn't come out with anything. Tamsin Muir hasn't come out with anything, unfortunately, yet. Hopefully one day. Oh, Orbital. Obviously that'll be on there. It's just won the Booker Prize, which was announced last night as well. And that was already one of the ones that most people had read, is Orbital. So that'll be on there, and that'll probably win. Yeah, I think that's the only one I can fully guess. Let's have a look at if I'm right. Oh, I've not read... Oh, I've heard of this one, Beautyland. I've heard really good things about it, but I don't know much about it. And then I've also heard a lot about In Ascension. And then not heard anything about the other ones on this. Let's scroll down. I'll be so surprised if Orbital isn't there. These all look really good. This is something... Oh, there we go. There she is. There's Orbital. That's a beautiful cover. I like this cover a lot more than the UK cover, actually. It says want to read. I have already read this, so I'm not sure why it's saying that. Oh, I've heard a lot about the Ministry of Time as well. Oh, and Jeff Vandermeer as well. I really want to read this whole series, Southern Reach. A lot of these covers are beautiful. Like, sci-fi covers lately have just, like, absolutely leveled up. Like, I really, really like the way they look. Out of all of them, I've only read one, and that is Orbital, and that is the one I personally think is going to win. Any of these, I'm going to come back and really read some of the descriptions of some of these, because I really like to see like what's been nominated, what's come out. Next one, horror. Maybe we've got a T. Kingfisher on there. I love a T. Kingfisher horror book. What else is horror? Maybe Chlorine could be on there. I'm pretty sure that came out this year. That was excellent. I would really like for that to be on there. Other than that, I'm kind of at a loss, to be honest. I always have kind of read more horror than I think, because I sometimes don't categorize things as horror in my head. Like, I always do it as like thriller or literary fiction, when in fact it is a horror. So let's click on it and see. We do have a T. Kingfisher. I've read the first one in this series, but not this one. So maybe I'll put that on my want to read list, because that'll be a fun one. I just really like T. Kingfisher anyway. Not heard of these three. Not heard of these ones either. I did not know there was a new Stephen King. Should have guessed that. Next list, I don't know these either. I'm surprised. Oh, here we go. A Sunny Place for Shady People. I should have guessed that would be on there. I have read this. I didn't really love it. It's short stories. Unfortunately, just didn't work for me. So I can vote for one because I've read one. I'm going to read this one, so maybe I'll change my vote later to vote for the T. Kingfisher one. But once again, we're stuck voting for the only one that I've read, which is A Sunny Place for Shady People. Next up, debut. This is just so difficult to guess because I do not know authors well enough to know whether it's their first book or their second book or their third book. And this could just be absolutely anything. Although usually a good way of guessing is let's look at fiction and see if I think any of these are debut. Maybe that would be on there. Greta and Walden. Don't know if it is. Could be. Let's just jump in and see what's on there. Oh, I didn't know that was a debut. That's maybe I'll add that to my TBR, depending, see if we've got anything else here. Haven't heard of the other ones so far. They look very pretty. I like these covers. Like, that is gorgeous. Oh no, am I gonna have to read this one? I might. I might just be judging this so harshly based on like previous ones, and it's nothing like that. Oh, Voyage of the Damned. Okay, that could be 2 birds, 1 stone if I read this one. And I was right, Greta and Walden. So I did guess one correctly. Wait, have I read any of these? I don't think I have. I haven't read any, so I can't vote. Oh no! Okay, so I'll have to come back later and vote for this once I've read Voyage of the Damned. And then we have a new category next, which is audiobooks. Have absolutely no idea what could be on the audiobooks. In my eyes, it would be something that's like a play or a full cast or really interesting nonfiction or a memoir read by the author. That's how I would think of an amazing audiobook, but this could genuinely be anything. So let's see how they've done it. Okay, we have some. It looks like a real random mix of everything. We've got James in here. We've got Funny Story. The Woman. Yeah, just it's like kind of a slightly like a doubled up category of some of the ones in other books. I have no idea how they've decided. I guess it's just people that have read them as audiobooks. This is good to know that this is a good audiobook though. Maybe I'll listen to it as an audiobook just for the summer. Although, can I just read this one or do I have to read the previous ones? Which one am I voting for? I've read James, I've read Funny Story, and that's it. So I'm going to vote for Funny Story. That feels like a very strange category. I'd love to know the logic behind introducing this one. Not that I'm against it in any way, just I'm interested. Okay, young adult fantasy. Another very hit or miss category for me. Like in previous years, it's been my favourite. And so then I get quite attached to young adult fantasy. And then when I read bad young adult fantasy, I get upset. So it's not that I don't like this category. It's like that I used to love it so much, I always feel like I've got my finger on the pulse and I know all of this stuff about books and I know what's coming out and on all these. But when I sit here and do this and try and predict what's in the next category, I realise I don't know anything. Let's click on it and see. Sorry, I just spat everywhere. I hope you didn't see that. Oh, Rebecca Ross, Ruthless Vows. I read the first one actually of this recently and I really liked it. I'm just really hesitant to promote these because the publisher has just been awful, honestly. Brandon Sanderson, a new Skyward is out. I've read the first few Skywards and really enjoyed those. What else do we have? I recognise this. Yeah, it's a Belladonna series. Not read it, but have heard good things. And then, I really do want to read this one. Air. I'm going to click that as a want to read. That I really like Sabater's writing. I think for me that's the only ones I know. I don't know any of them and I've not read any of them, so I can't vote. Which one should I pick for my one that I'm going to read? I will read this one at one point, but this I think is a really long book. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read it by the 5th of December because that just seems insane. Let me know what you think I should read. Next one, young adult fiction. This one, I feel like I know that book, the second one after Better Than the Movies, I can picture the cover in my head, but I don't know what it's called, by Lynn Painter. That's going to be on there. I tried to read the first one in that series and absolutely hated it. Oh, actually, there is one that I do know that is on there that I'm really happy about, and that is Lex Crouch's books. I think Not for the Faint of Heart is on there, and because I saw them reacting to it on Instagram. So that has made me really happy, actually. And I have not read it, but it's on my shelf, so that will maybe be the one that I read. Right, immediately. I have not read these. I've read a lot of the Heartstoppers, but I didn't finish them. Oh my god, there's a Lynn Painter one. That's not even the one I thought it was going to be, betting on you. I thought it was going to, I was actually imagining a different one. Oh look, there it is. Oh, I thought it was Not for the Faint of Heart, but it's Gwen and Art Are Not in Love. I have this one too, so I have both. This is definitely on, I've already got it as want to read on my thing, but sometimes it doesn't load it up. That's the one I meant. Better than movies. Lynn Painter absolutely cleaning up in this category. But my vote is going for Gwen and Art Are Not in Love, even though I've not even read it yet. I'm tempted just to actually vote for it now. But I won't. I will stick to the rules of the game that I have created for myself, which is I have to read one in every category to vote for. Next up, non-fiction. There's not a chance I've read any of these. And I don't even know what's come out, so I'm just going to click and we're just going to see what it is. Yep. Don't know any of these. Oh, apart from this want. Maybe I'll click this one actually as my want to read because I love Gillian Anderson and I've seen this everywhere in the bookshops when I go in. I think it'd be kind of fun. It's all about sexual fantasies and that just sounds really fun to me. So for now, let's move on to memoir. Another one, I'm not even going to try and guess what's coming up. RuPaul's memoirs there. Who else have we got? Anyone? Oh, the Gilmore Girls one. That if I was going to read one, I'd read this one because I love Kelly Bishop. Well, I love the Gilmore Girls. Oh, I actually own this. So maybe I should read this one before the winner's announced. That'll be the only one maybe that I read from that. And then history and biography. I'm not going to be too interested in this. I'm just going to have a quick scan through. I've heard about this and I've read this author's other books and I've really liked them actually. We have a lot of American themed ones. This one is about presidents. This one is about Jim Crow. This one is about Native American. This one has got an American flag on it. This one's got also an American flag on it. This one is called American Scary. This one is about the dawn of American fashion. This one is about the Kennedys. This one is about an American bookstore, or the American bookstore. This is about a 6-stage hostage crisis, I'm guessing happened in America. And this one is about the United States, Central America, and the making of a crisis. That is quite astounding just how many are not only by American authors, but literally about America. That is actually crazy. You can just tell, like, if this doesn't show you enough, like, how non-diverse these book lists are. For history and biography, having most of them be not just about Americans, but about America, which is so funny to me and slightly ironic in the fact that in terms of like world history, America's history is pretty short, you know, but they're taking up the absolute most space on a list about history and biographies. I just find that funny. But yeah, not surprising. I don't find most of those interesting. So this might be the only one that I definitely don't read anything from, except for that I might read this one, Nexus, because that sounds kind of interesting to me. But that is everything for the Goodreads Choice Awards for 2024. Let me know what your reactions were as well. I'm going to try and read a couple of them by November 26th, but I'm going to probably come back and do final voting as well. And I'm going to try and read one book from every single category, which is what I try and do every year. Should we see how well I did for last year, actually? In the fiction category, what did I read? I read this one. I read this one. I read The Bee Sting, I read that recently. It was shit. Wayward in this one. And that's it. But it was the winner, so I picked well that time. For romance, I only read Happy Place. Romantasy, what did I read? I read... I DNF'd Foxglove King. I tried. Okay, Romantasy does look better this year, to be honest. Fantasy. Yeah, this is the one where I absolutely cleaned up. I read Hellbent. Trust of the Emerald Sea. Have not yet read that one. Encyclopedia of Fairies, Bookshops and Bone Dust, Swordcatcher, Adventures of Mina Al Sarafi, Starling House, Stoneblight. I have not yet read this one, but I will soon. I also own this one, I haven't read it yet. Will of the Many, and that's it. So last year I did all right. Let me check. Let me see my votes. So I need to pick one from the mystery and thriller category. I need to vote for one of the debut novels, and then young adult fantasy. Need to pick one young adult fiction, and then maybe I'll pick a non-fiction, but Might not. So that is it from me. That was a very long and rambling video, so thank you so much for doing that with me. I love doing it every single year. I just find it really fun. Let me know your initial reactions to the list. Did you read many of the books that were nominated? Did you read none of them? Are you upset about the list in some way? Please let me know. But that is it from me today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and go and watch all of my other videos as well, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!